Um, One of the things about innovation, and this is where we're going to talk about experiential innovation. So one of the things about innovation that's difficult is as markets grow, as the competition in a particular market becomes more sophisticated from innovating, it makes it more difficult to innovate. It's if you think about, I don't know, think about Georgia 15 years ago. And I mean, remember how easy it was in 2007, 8, and 9 when we were working together with TBC, how easy it was to take concepts from other markets and say, okay, yes, we'll copy this, we'll make it a little bit better, we'll adapt it to the local market, and we launch, and now we have competitive advantage and price premium. And you have that competitive advantage and price premium for a period of time until your competition copies what you just launched. So in underdeveloped markets, this type of innovation based on products and channels is very interesting and easy because we can copy what we see in other markets, launch, adapt to our market, and win this competitive advantage and price premium for a period of time. Now, as markets become more developed, this gets more and more difficult because the competition is more sophisticated. The overall market offering starts to look very much the same because people launch something new and everybody copies it, and people launch something new and everybody copies that, and so on. So the market tends to look more mature. The offerings tend to be more similar, and your competition that's more sophisticated, if you do launch something really new and really cool, they'll copy it faster because they're more sophisticated now. So what happens over time is your cost of innovation goes up higher and higher and higher because it becomes more and more difficult to think up the next new offer. And the return on investment gets lower and lower and lower over time. So difficulty rises, return on investment for innovation drops, and we have to find some new way to innovate. So this is the foundational principle of where experiential innovation comes from. So we're going to explore this a little bit. If we think of product and channel innovation, we're thinking about what I get. So I buy a product, I get access to it through a particular channel, and so on. So most of what you guys are doing, I believe, is still in this kind of product and channel innovation. What new feature can we add? How can we give more access to it? How do we become more omni-channel, so to speak? But we're still kind of in that territory. Now, experiential innovation is more in the territory of what it means to me. What is the outcome that I receive as a result of this form of innovation? So am I buying the health club membership or am I getting rid of 10 kilos? And those two things are dramatically different for a customer. Am I getting a car loan or am I getting a new car? Those are dramatically different from a customer's point of view. So let's take a minute. If we look at moving from bottom to top in this type of innovation that is product and channel, it's rational territory for us. But if we do move from incremental changes to some radical improvement, we might get disruptive technologies, things like the internet, mobile banking, things that dramatically change the landscape of a market or an industry. So it is possible to have these disruptive innovations that come out. A great example of this, if we're looking historically, a great example was the introduction of digital music files, because digital music files, the ability to have digital music, actually gave way to digital music players, and that revolutionized the music industry. So if we look at this in the other direction now, moving from incremental to radical changes in the experience, in this emotional territory of what it means to me, here we get into disruptive relationships. Now, disruptive relationships, I always use the example of Harley Davidson. And I think, unfortunately, Harley Davidson is used far too much as an example, but it really does illustrate the point of a disruptive relationship, because people don't buy Harley Davidson because it's the best motorcycle out there. They buy Harley Davidson because they're buying into a lifestyle. They're buying into a community. They're in effect not even buying the motorcycle, they're buying the lifestyle. And this, you can see this in one very simple exercise. If you go to Google Images and type in Harley Davidson tattoo, there's about 6 million images that come up of people that have tattooed their body. Now that is a deep, deep level of emotional engagement. If you're branding your body with the brand of a business, it's deep brand integration here that we don't see in the banking industry. It's very rare that we would see Citibank or HSBC or TBC tattooed on somebody's body. If we do achieve that, I would love to use it as a case study. But most banks don't have this level of emotional engagement yet. Let's say it could be possible. So if we think about this two different types of disruptive innovation. One of them would bring us disruptive technologies. The other one brings us disruptive relationships. Now, what happens if we do that in an integrated way? So if we're able to create balance between the rational and the emotional, if we're able to create balance between what I get and what it means to me, and that is this unique space that we try to achieve in experiential innovation. We're really trying to get this balance between the product and channel components and the outcome that we're trying to achieve together with the client. So if we think about this, Apple is really a great example of this. So Apple did not think up the MP3 player. Apple did not think up digital music. Apple did not think up smartphones. They just happened to do it in a way that they're balancing a really good product and channel mix together with, oops, somebody's coming in, together with, that is Nini, okay. So they're balancing a really good product and channel mix together with a disruptive relationship. People that believe in the Apple brand often fail to see other brands. And one of the things that we'll talk about on Thursday is this ability for Apple to influence the cyclical nature of purchasing. So Apple is actually able to speed up purchasing cycles as a result of the relationship that people have with Apple. So Apple, and I don't know if you haven't seen these numbers, it's very interesting. We'll see it on Thursday. Apple has about 12 to 13% market share of sales of smartphones on the planet. But Apple has 75% share of profit on the planet. So 12, 13% share of sales, but 75% of the profit of smartphone sales goes to Apple. That is the benefit. It's the unique ability when there's this balance between what I get and what it means to me. When there's balance between the emotional and the rational. When there's balance between the product and channel mix and the outcome that a person receives from that offering. So this is a unique space.